Hello and welcome, I am Thomas Porteus and you are watching The World Report. Let's take a look at the top headlines this hour. Israel launches at least 60 strikes in Syria after former President Assad's fall in the region. Meanwhile, the US says it's in contact with the new Syrian rulers, keeping peaceful transition in mind. Ukrainian President Zelensky claims Russia has started deploying North Korean troops to reclaim the Kursk region. Washington and Seoul accused Pyongyang of sending about 10,000 soldiers to help Moscow. At least 3 people have been killed and 48 people have been injured at a cultural festival in Thailand. 2 suspects are being held in custody, but no charges have yet been to be pressed. An inquiry panel in Bangladesh makes shocking claims, says ousted PM Sheikh Hasina involved in enforcement disappearances. A 5-member commission of inquiry came into force to investigate enforced disappearances by security forces in Hasina's tenure. UN experts express concern over a new hijab law which imposes a series of new penalties on women and girls who fail to wear a hijab, including at least 15 years of imprisonment. South Korea's acting President Han Duck-soo reassures the country's allies calm financial markets. This comes after President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment and suspension from his duties. After a drastic political maneuver in Syria, Israel has now ramped up its efforts against the territory. Israel has reportedly executed 60 airstrikes near Damascus and across Syria. HTS leader Abu Mohammed al-Jolani fears escalation in the region. Meanwhile, the United States has said that it's established contact with HTS. Here is a report.
Israel continues storming Syria amid a large-scale administrative maneuver after Hayat Tahrir al-Sham toppled Bashar al-Assad's government and Abu Mohammed al-Jolani took charge. According to reports, Israel pounced on Syria with 60 strikes in different locations. HTS leader Abu Mohammed al-Jolani responded by saying that the Israeli move threatens a new unjustified escalation in the region. Israel's major enemy, Hezbollah, warned the new Syrian rulers against normalizing Israel ties.
نتمنى أيضاً أن تعتبر هذه الجهة الحاكمة الجديدة إسرائيل عدواً وأن لا تطبع معها.
Qassem also admitted Hezbollah lost a military supply line in Syria after Jolani's takeover. Meanwhile, the United States said it has established contact with Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Interestingly, the same United States designated the HTS as terrorists in 2018. In Aqaba, Jordan hosted talks with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Arab diplomats and Turkey. After the meeting, Blinken announced the involved parties' support to the Syrian people.
We agreed that the transition process should be Syrian-led and Syrian-owned and produce an inclusive and representative government. The rights of all Syrians, including minorities and women, should be respected. Humanitarian aid should be able to reach people who need it. State institutions should deliver essential services to the Syrian people. Syria should not be used as a base for terrorist groups or others who threaten Syria's people, its neighbors, or the world.
Turkey has reopened its embassy in Damascus 12 years after Ankara's diplomatic mission was shuttered early in Syria's civil war. With Assad ousted and Jolani in office, what is now to be seen is how the new administration paints the canvas of Syria's future. Bureau Report, NewsX.
We will now take a look at some news updates from North America. Unidentified drones have been raising safety concerns over the northeastern region of the United States. President-elect Donald Trump has suggested that the drone should be shot down. The governor of New York has also expressed grave concern, stating that drone activity forced a 1-hour shutdown of runways at Stewart Airfield, a smaller regional airport in the state. ABC News has agreed to pay $15 million to US President-elect Donald Trump to settle a defamation lawsuit. On March 10th, an ABC News anchor falsely claimed that Trump had been found liable for rape. As part of the settlement reached on Saturday, ABC will issue a statement expressing regret for the comments. President-elect Donald Trump has announced Devin Nunes as the chairman of the Intelligence Advisory Board. Nunes, a staunch Trump loyalist, also serves as the CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group. It operates Trump's social media platform, Truth Social. Nunes represented California in the House from 2003 to 2022 and will reportedly continue his role at Truth Social. US President Joe Biden has spoken with South Korea's Prime Minister Han Duck-soo just a day after the impeachment of South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol. Biden emphasized the strength of US-South Korea relationship, calling the alliance a linchpin for peace in the region. The US Federal Reserve is widely expected to announce a quarter-point cut to its lending rate during its final meeting under President Biden's administration. Despite a recent uptick on inflation, the decision is anticipated amidst uncertainty surrounding President-elect Donald Trump's economic proposals. The FED is also expected to signal a lower pace for future rate cuts. Texas has filed a lawsuit against a New York doctor alleging that he prescribed abortion pills to a Dallas area woman. This case marks the first known legal challenge of its kind, testing the conflict between two states' abortion laws. It is alleged that the woman took the pills at 9 months pregnant, violating Texas's near-total abortion ban. North Korean troops are reportedly aiding Russia in the Kursk region, sparking condemnation from Washington and Seoul. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drone strikes hit Russian targets, including a major oil terminal, amid intensifying attacks on military and energy facilities by both sides. Let's take a look at this report.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed North Korean troops have been deployed in the Kursk region to attack Ukrainian positions in the region, regain territory, and stop Ukraine's progress.
Росіяни почали застосовувати в штурмах солдатів з Північної Кореї. Помітну кількість. Росіяни включають їх у зведені підрозділи та використовують в операціях у районах Курської області. Поки що тільки там. Але ми маємо інформацію про те, що можливе застосування і на інших ділянках фронту. Втрати серед цієї категорії вже теж помітні.
As per various reports, North Korean troops have killed 300 Kiev soldiers in the Kursk region. This move has received condemnation from both Washington and Seoul, who accused Pyongyang of sending over 10,000 soldiers to assist Moscow. Zelensky currently suspects their operations in the Kursk region and believes they will be deployed to other parts of the front line in the future. This comes after Russian officials reported a fire in the western Oryol region caused by a Ukrainian drone strike. Images showed smoke rising into the night sky. The governor of Oryol, Andrei Klitschkov, confirmed there were no fatalities. Ukraine claimed that the attack hit a major oil terminal in a barrage of drone attacks in Stolnoy-Kon, about 165 kilometers into Russian territory. This retaliation followed Moscow's massive aerial assault on Ukraine, which was reportedly the heaviest attack on the country's energy network in nearly 3 years of war. Additionally, Ukrainian drone strikes in southern Russia in the Belgorod region claimed a 9-year-old boy, as per reports delivered by officials on Saturday. Kiev's general staff reported that Russia launched 132 drones overnight, with 130 either being intercepted or missing their targets, while Russia's military claimed to have shot down 60 Ukrainian drones during the same period. Reportedly, Ukraine is attacking the military and energy facilities of Russia frequently. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let us now take a look at some news updates from South America. Brazil's former defense minister Walter Braga Neto has been arrested. He's accused of plotting a military coup after the 2022 election and funding the scheme. Investigators say he hosted a meeting to kill President Lula and his vice president-elect. Police also allege Braga Neto meddled in the probe by seeking deposition details. His lawyers deny the claims and vow to prove his innocence. He'll remain in army custody in Rio under the military law. Cuba is grappling with a severe fuel shortage, leaving many gas stations closed for days. Long lines have formed in Havana, with motorists waiting for deliveries. Some have been camping out to secure a spot. The crisis follows widespread blackouts which left millions without power. Fuel supplies have been reduced due to a drop in shipments from Cuba's allies, especially Venezuela. The Cuban government attributes the issue to the US embargo, which complicates fuel imports. Argentina condemned the detention of Nahuel Agustin Gallo, a non-commissioned officer from its gendarmerie in Venezuela. Gallo entered the country from Colombia on December the 8th to visit family, but was immediately arrested without justification, according to the Argentine government. Defense Minister Patricia Bullrich demanded his immediate release, calling the action a violation of his fundamental rights. The incident highlights the tensions between Argentina's far-right government and Venezuela's socialist leadership. The US Department of Agriculture has delayed resuming Mexican cattle imports due to the world screwworm issue. Earlier, it was suggested that shipments could resume before the holidays, but now USDA officials say they expect imports to restart gradually after the new year. The US has approved $165 million in emergency funds to combat the pest in Mexico and Central America. Mexico must first implement USDA-approved holding pens and treatment protocols before trade can fully resume. A US couple was shot dead in Michoacan, Mexico, after meeting with violence with President Claudia Sheinbaum. The couple, Gloria and Rafael, were attacked on Wednesday night in Angamachury. Gloria died at the scene while Rafael was succumbed to his injuries later. Authorities are investigating the motive behind the attack. Both victims had ties to the region, with family and a home in the area. The killings come as Mexico grapples with rising violence, despite efforts to improve security. A 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck Maule, Chile on Friday, according to the European Mediterranean Seismological Center. The quake hit at a depth of 100 kilometers, shaking the region. There are no immediate reports of major damage or casualties. Authorities are monitoring the situation. Earthquakes of this magnitude are common in Chile, a country situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Georgia faces fresh turmoil after former footballer Mikhail Kavashvili is elected president in a ruling party-controlled vote. Amid mass protests and opposition boycotts, the move deepens the political crisis. Let's have a look at the report.
Today, 225 members of college have participated in this process, where we have one invalid ballot paper and 224 valid ballot papers, according to which Mikhail Kavashvili has been elected as the new president of Georgia.
Protesters outside the Georgian parliament erupted in anger over the result. Hundreds waved red cards, a mocking reference to Kavashvili's football career, decrying what they call a shameful move by the Georgian Dream Party. Kavashvili, a hardline critic of the West, secured a straightforward win as the only candidate, replacing pro-Western incumbent Saloma Zurabishvili. The vote, held by a 300-member electoral college and boycotted by opposition parties, has reignited tensions over Georgia's European future.
შესაბამისად დღევანდელი დღე კაფიოთ პოზიტიურად ჩაიწერება ჩვენი ქვეყნის ისტორიაში. მიხეილ ყაველაშვილი იქნება უცილებლად გამორჩეულად დაცამახსოვრებადი პრეზიდენტი ჩვენი საზოგადოებისთვის და მსოფლიოსთვის, მისი პოზიტიური, ეროვნული, გამორჩეულად პატრიოტული თვისებებიდან გამომდინარე.
A former professional footballer, Kavashvili's political rise has been equally dramatic. He co-founded the People's Power movement, known for its strong anti-Western stance and controversial laws seen as mirroring Russian influence. Meanwhile, anger continues to boil over on the streets. The lighting of the Christmas tree outside Parliament was cancelled as protesters booed and demanded early elections.
ჩვენ მათ გასათავისუფლებლად ვიქნებით აქ ბოლომდე და ნაძვის ყეანთება მხოლოდ მაშინ, როდესაც ის აინთება ყველასთვის. ახალი წელი ამ ქვეყანაში დადგება ან ყველასთვის, ან არავისთვის.
Georgia's government is under fire for halting EU accession talks, a national goal enshrined in the country's constitution. Critics accuse the ruling party of steering Georgia closer to Russia and betraying its people's aspirations. As opposition figures vow to resist Kavalashvili's inauguration set for December 29th, outgoing President Salome Zurabaikvili, who called the vote a mockery of democracy, refuses to vacate office.
ეს არის სირცხლი და ბოდიში ხალხის მიერ მიფურთხება. როცა დაგიჟეს უწოდინარი დიპლომის გარეშე ვიღაცა ქუჩის ადამიანი, ის უკვე არ არის არც ქვეყანა და ხელისუფლება.
For now, the streets of Georgia remain filled with protesters demanding a government that reflects their pro-European hopes. As the crisis deepens, the nation finds itself at a crossroads between Europe and its Soviet past. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Now let's take a look at some news updates from the Indo-Pacific region. The United Kingdom became the 12th member of the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The previous British government signed the accession treaty last year, having ratified the UK's entry. Officials hope membership could boost Britain's struggling economy. The country is trying to strike new trade deals in abroad after the aftermath of leaving the European Union. Tokyo-based Space One postponed a rocket launch for the second day after its first try ended in a mid-air explosion. It had initially scheduled liftoff for its Kairos rocket on Saturday. However, it pushed the launch back 24 hours because of high wind speeds. It was also further postponed because of similar weather conditions. The firm is in talks with authorities to set a new launch time, with Space One hoping it will be 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Australia said that the 5 remaining members of the Bali 9 drug ring have returned home. This is after they spent almost 20 years in an Indonesian prison. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese confirmed their arrival in the country at a post. The high-profile case began in 2005 when Indonesia caught 9 young Australians. They were trying to smuggle 8.3 kilograms of heroin out of Bali. Japanese police are searching for a man who fled with a knife from a crime scene. It was after a stabbing incident at a restaurant on Saturday night in Kikalalushu. Police have said a teenage girl was pronounced dead at the hospital after being stabbed. The second victim was also taken to a hospital but is conscious. Police quoted the man saying the suspect was a stranger and the case is being investigated as murder. A Venezuelan man arrested in protests that erupted after the disputed election victory of President Maduro has died in prison. Jesus Rafael Alvarez died in a maximum security prison in the city of Carabobo. It was the second such fatality among the several thousand people detained after the election. The other prisoner to die after being arrested was a member of the opposition party. Japan's defense minister has briefed the mayor of Nago City on the start of the reallocation process of US Marines to Guam. This is a part of the government's efforts to alleviate Okinawa's burden of hosting US bases. He said about 100 members of a logistical support unit have begun to move to Guam. In 2006, Japan and the US agreed the transfer of more than 4,000 Marine Corps to Guam. Japan says the relocation is happening in phases. Amidst atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh, a new report has been presented to Chief Advisor Mohammed Yunus. An inquiry commission stated that Sheikh Hasina is involved in the alleged incidents of enforced disappearance. Amidst this situation, all eyes remain on Indo-Bangladesh relations. Here is a report.
An inquiry commission set up by the Bangladesh interim government said that there is Sheikh Hasina's involvement in alleged incidents of enforced disappearance. The commission has already presented the report to Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus on Saturday. The report said over 3,500 people are estimated to have been victims of such disappearances. As per the reports, the commission found evidence linking Hasina as the perpetrator behind these incidents. The report also mentioned other individuals allegedly involved. The list consists of big names from various sectors. The ex-army and police officers who are alleged to be involved are on the run now. They are mostly believed to be abroad after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina on August 5, 2024. Post the change of power in Bangladesh, there have been a series of crimes all around in the country. Religious minorities, especially Hindus, have been targeted by Islamist extremists. There have been several incidents of vandalizing Hindu temples too. The atrocity against Hindus and all minorities was highly criticized by the government of India. Indian envoy also visited Bangladesh to smoothen the situation. Amidst this situation, it will be interesting to see how India, the country which liberated Bangladesh in 1971, will keep ties with its neighbor Bangladesh. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Now let's take a look at some news updates from Europe. Cyclone Chido devastated the French island of Mayotte on Saturday, destroying shanty towns. It raises fears of a high death toll, with 14 fatalities confirmed till now. The cyclone had placed the region on high alert as it neared the African mainland. The winds are moving at a speed of 226 kilometers an hour. The nearby Comoros Islands also experienced severe flooding and extensive damage to homes. Isaac Andic, billionaire founder of fashion chain Mango, died in a cave accident near Barcelona on Saturday. The 71-year-old reportedly fell 150 meters into a ravine while hiking with his family in the Mount Serrat Mountains, known for its deep caves. A major emergency response, including police, a helicopter and a mountain unit, was launched to recover his body. Ukraine condemned a map shown during the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw as unacceptable error for excluding Crimea, internationally recognized as Ukrainian territory. Ukraine's foreign ministry demanded a public apology, while FIFA acknowledged the issue and removed the image. Crimea has been under Russian occupation since 2014, but a few nations recognize it as Russian territory. A suspect was arrested on Saturday night after two off-duty Garda armed unit members were assaulted. This incident took place in Dublin's Temple Bar area. One officer is critically injured with a head wound. Sources revealed the suspect had the officers' mobile phones at the time of the arrest. It also reveals that an incident room is established for further investigation at the Pierre Street Garda station. Argentinian President Javier Milei and his sister Karina granted citizenship of Italy. This has been done due to the Italian heritage, as per the Italian news agency ANCA. This has sparked wide outrage in the country. Opposition lawmaker Riccardo Maggi and Europa denounced it as intolerable discrimination against young Italians who face lengthy bureaucracy to obtain citizenship. In a fight against the hijab law in Iran, UN experts have urged the Iranian regime to repeal the law. The experts said that it marks an assault on women's rights and freedoms. While the failure to wear a hijab is already punishable with fines, the new law introduces longer prison sentences. Let's have a look at the report.
The new hijab law in Iran has raised concerns in United Nations. The hijab law imposes a series of strict penalties on women and girls who fail to wear hijab in Iran. UN experts have called on the Iranian regime to repeal the law with immediate effect. While the failure to wear a hijab is already punishable with fines and imprisonment under Iran's Islamic Penal Code, the new law introduces hefty fines and longer prison sentences of up to 15 years. The UN experts debate that the enforcement of the law will likely escalate violence against women and girls and further embed systematic and structural gender-based discrimination and segregation in society. The UN is also concerned about the use of state-led propaganda to shape educational content and cultural norms to enforce mandatory veiling. Hossein Ali Haji Diligani, a member of the Mullah's parliament, said the president has between 1 to 2 weeks to have the law published in an official newspaper and order the relevant agencies to implement the law. 15 days after the publication of the law in an official newspaper, the law comes into effect. Bureau Report, NewsX.
And that is all we have time for. We will be back soon with more news updates from across the world.